Hey y'all, Rachel Crawford here. Today I want to talk about the fan brush because I feel like the fan brush is an underappreciated and overlooked paintbrush, and it's really fantastic for textures. So you can see here I've already played around with my fan brushes, which of course I'm going to show you today. But look at just all of the different textures that you can get that you really could not get, like these kinds of stripes or these kinds of little, dots all in a row, even here with a regular paintbrush. It just would take you a really long time. This you absolutely could not achieve with a regular brush. So let's just start talking about them. So the ones that I have here, I've got coarse bristle brushes, and then I've got the soft nylon brushes. And when you look at the paintbrush dry, all of the bristles are perfectly fanned out. As soon as you wet the brush, the bristles, this is what they do. They do this. So they literally go from being nice and smooth to sticking together. But this is what gives you the texture when you're using them with watercolors. So the bristle brushes, these here, these are more for your oil paints and your acrylic paints. I mostly like to use my fan brushes with watercolors. I used to paint in oils a long time ago, so these three are oil painting brushes. So because they have actually touched oils, I don't use them, with anything else other than I'll use them with acrylics from time to time, but I wouldn't really necessarily use them with my watercolors because they're going to have oil residue on them. So that's just, so little tangent here. A tip on brushes is I like to keep my brushes separated for the medium that it's used for. So for example, these are oil brushes. I would save these for oils, maybe occasionally let them go into acrylics, but even then, I don't usually do that. Like this one has never touched oil paints, so actually I've never used it yet at all. So this would be a great brush to use for acrylics. Or today I'm gonna dip them in my watercolors and see what happens because I haven't even played with this one yet. So I'm actually gonna set these aside. Also, traditionally, fan brushes were used for soft blending, painting clouds in, it's just, they're very wispy. Dipping this into oils, they don't do this. They react very differently. Also, these are bristles, so the bristles are not gonna do the same thing. So let me just put this one in water, and you can see it doesn't change at all. It absolutely keeps its shape. So that is bristly versus the nylon brushes, the soft, super soft nylon brushes. So keep that in mind. That's just a little side note on the brushes. So I'm gonna keep this one around because I do want to give that one a test. But they come in all different shapes and sizes. So you can see these are very fanned out. Just let me tap the water off of that one. Super fanned out, and these two are a little tighter. They're not as splayed out. They have a tighter, width. I actually use these two often. They're kind of my little faves. But let's see what they all do. So let's give them a try. If you have fan brushes around your house and your studio, and you have never giving them a go. I hope this encourages you to give them a try. So these that are, this is a little interesting, which is probably why I like these a lot better. For whatever reason, these bristles are, I think because they're tighter, they don't splay as much as this one. So let me show you what I mean by that. All right, so here, see how wide that is, and then you'll see that this is going to be tighter. Little tighter. Let's do it again. And then this one, oh, I just love this. Look at the stripes. I couldn't paint, you really and truly just could not paint these. You couldn't paint this with a regular brush. So let's come down here. I just want to see, I really need my, let me get the palette part for this so that I can get some watery paint going. Oh, we can't even see this one. I need to get a different color. Don't have enough. Let me go into this. Look at this. Look at just even just this combo of colors together is really quite beautiful, the stripes. So let's say you are a textile designer and you're wanting to just make some interesting patterns. Look, or striped patterns. Look what you can do with a fan brush. Beautiful stripes with layering, different shades. It's really lovely. You can just, oh, you could just play with this for quite some time. So there you have it with fan brush. Two different ones, one where the bristles stay pretty tight. And let me tell you what this one is. This is a Princeton Select, and this is a King Art Studio. So I think this King Art, I got this in like a set, like a pack of brushes, and then the Princeton Selects, this was like open stock at my art supply store. Let me go to the smaller one because I really like this one. And I'm going to show you how it reacts or what it does with the circles. Oh, I just love this. I really do love. Here's heavier paint. I'm pushing harder. Here's more water. Isn't that lovely, y'all? I want you to get a fan brush and play with your fan brush. This one, so I'm back to this one, the one where the bristles are like super, super splayed out. I'm getting some orange. Okay, another thing that I like to do with these. Well, first, let me show you this one, circular. It's even more like stripey with the stripes. Isn't this great? And I can, if I pressed harder, let me just press harder, you can get a little more solid. So you can really play around with these with pressure. So something that this brush does really well is if I stamp it on its side, it kind of makes a flower. I can make a flower pattern with it. I just love this. I mean, add some stems and you have a really fantastic flower. I want to press this one again. Wait, I need more water. And here we go. Oop, that one's a little wonky because I used my left hand. But you get the picture. The other thing that this does really cool is just like dots, spots, you know, just speckles. Speckle, I love going in the circle with the speckles. You could keep going, just build dimension. You could put a second color on it. Again, stripes. Let's just say I want to go in the opposite direction here. I mean, look how fantastic. Can you tell I like these brushes? I just really like these brushes. So let me show you, the other one, like this one with the kind of stamping technique, because you can stamp with that also. It's just going to give you a different mark. Not so much something that I would want to do with flowers, but maybe if I had, let me go back into this color. Ooh, let's do the colors on top of one another and see what happens. I mean, you could have a bouquet of flowers done here. It's just finagling the bristles, pressing down, lifting up, you know, kind of a stamping technique. Now, one thing these don't, or I just have not had really good success with them in any kind of way, is straight lines. So let me show you that. Just trying to get some color. So it's, you can, but they're not perfect. So like a, you know, a small round brush is going to give you a perfect, but this gives you something interesting. And what it is the bristle. It's just really hard to keep the other bristles from kind of like wanting to pop out. But look how cool. This is just, it just gives you marks that your regular brushes don't make, right? It's just a new mark. Look how these really are pretty. So let's just say, I mean, you know, you want to make them into flowers, you could turn them into some kind of flower, little abstract flowers or something. Okay, what else let me show you dotting with this one, making dots with this one. Okay, so it also does them, but not as much as this one. This one makes the better, gives you more. And I think the difference for me, feeling wise, is this is super stiff nylon and this is softer. So let me get, I want to play with, oh, this one. This was the one. Because look how, this one's like crazy splayed. I call it splayed, where it's, the bristles are just kind of, so let's see what this one does lines wise. Oh, that's so pretty. Talk about give you some cool, like, plaid type. And you never know. I mean, sometimes you have to dip it again, wiggle it around to get it to change. If you don't like the configuration, you know, you can always just kind of run your fingers and separate some to give you a different setup with those bristles. Oh, look at that. That's really, let's do that again. Because that's like, that's super nice. Oh, I like that. Let's press the whole, this one, I don't know why I haven't, and maybe it's just water ratio. This one just has like, this one just really makes these great little flower shapes. This one, not so much. It's like, it just doesn't want to do it for whatever reason. It is so interesting. And this is why it is so important. I always tell my students, you have to know your supplies. You need to know what your brushes do. What do your brushes do? What can I do with these brushes? Let me get a fresh sheet. of paper because I don't want to keep going over the marks because then we really won't even know what I've done. But so let's take one and just use it. Like, what happens if I just kind of run and roll it? I mean, look at, that is so interesting. It's just very, very interesting. So play, play, play. Get, like, what do your brushes do? Even your, you know, just your regular, how many marks can you make with a round brush? What can you do with that? Have you experimented and tried to see, you know, if you stamp it, what happens when you stamp it? What happens when you roll it? Of course, I don't have enough water here. You know, how many tiny marks? How bigger can you go with the marks? Like, know what your tools do. It is so important because the more you play and experiment and see what your tools can do, the more that tool can serve you, right? So let's go to this giant guy. I'm gonna have to get some good, let's go into this purple. I haven't gone into this. Let's see what this purple will do. And the fan brushes, they can, like, when you're going, I mean, this is a big, you know, big paint wells that I've got here, these trays of paint. And if you're wondering, this is Kuretake Gansai Tombi paint. That is my favorite. If you've taken any of my watercolor classes, you know it is my favorite, and you'll hear me say it a billion times on in my videos. But look at this. Look at how quickly I got, and even going over, like letting the brush marks cross over. If you fill a page with this and add other colors in between, I mean, how magnificent is that? Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's see. Maybe I want to tweak them a little. So I'm just going to kind of pull them aside. See what happens. Wow, so pretty. Okay, so let's stamp with this one. I just find these big ones, they just don't stamp all that great. Even when you, let's see, this one feels like it's gonna do pretty good. Look at that. All right, look at this. This would just be, I'm gonna leave that one as is because that would just be a really nice flower in and of itself. But and I'm just tugging down a little bit to get extra, just tugging a tiny bit. Little tug down, but I'm really just stamping it. So pretty. So how could I turn this into something? Let's get some green or greenish. Here's my brush that makes speckles. Do some speckles on the inside, and now we just kind of have a little makeshift flower. So let's give this one a stem just because it's so pretty. Just grabbing some green. I know I just went off camera, sorry y'all. Let's see, so here, let me just see if I want to just add as though it has like a little base and then pull down. There you go, easy. Fan brush. How about that? All right, let's see. I want to see what kind of dots this one makes. If it makes pretty good dots. A little messier, and it's really only these that are hitting the paper. These aren't. If I press down really hard to get those outer ones, that's when it gets super messy. But it's still super cool, like for a starburst, you know, like a burst kind of action. All right, so what else? This one. This one is not normally what I would use. Plus, it's giant for the watercolor, and it doesn't do the splaying. This is actually for encaustics. I mean, you could use it for acrylics, you can use it on oils, but they're advertising it for encaustics. Let's just see what it does. Well, it actually gives you pretty good, like, solid coverage. So this would, I don't have like good, you can't really, I hope you can see, super light, but interesting, definitely interesting, but it's less to me, this is less interesting because it doesn't have all the splits like the other brush does. But hey, if you need to get a whole lot of color down onto your surface, this might be your brush. Let's see what it does. I bet it's gonna give a pretty good, I'm working on blocks, so that's why I have to set them aside and grab a new one. Oh, sorry y'all. Circles, because y'all know I love circles. So let's just see. Oh, I need darker paint. So let's just grab whatever's here. I'm sure I just made mud on my brush. But interesting, for sure, interesting. You could play inside. Came out super, super light, but fun. It's still, oh, it's starting to splay. So maybe it's a water issue because I have maybe not. I have very little water on it, but there we go with some interesting lines. So there you have it. Fan brush. I am a fan of the fan brush, and I hope this video has inspired you to go get a fan brush or pull your fan brushes out of your dusty, out from being covered in dust because it's been sitting in your paintbrush jar for a long time, and see what you can do. What can you do? What can you do with your fan brush? You can have a ton of fun. So y'all, play, experiment, and let me know if you have fallen in love with the fan brush. Happy creating, y'all.